I'm here to tell you, you're not a failure. It's not you. It's the economy. Because you can't afford a home, it's not your fault. With all of the odds against you, it's just impossible to afford a home right now. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, my name is Ciara Harvey. I'm a local real estate agent here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm here to help. My number is down in the description below. If you're looking for an agent, I'm here for you. I got you. But now let's start the video. So in 2023, only 16% of homes were affordable. Meaning 84% of people could not afford a home. And which, yes, they probably got approved for a home, but not actually afford it using the 30% rule. I'm just here to, just justify your thoughts on why it's impossible to buy a home and come to a conclusion on solution to home affordability. So I want to start off with higher rates. Rates are just ridiculously high right now. They're sitting they're teetering, tottering on 7% lately. And it's just ridiculous how everybody complains about the economy. And Jerome Powell is like, nah, I ain't cutting rates. But yeah, it's I understand we as consumers can stop spending, can stop getting those part-time jobs, which doubled the last time. Their predictions doubled in the last month of, nope, it doubled a couple days ago. Yeah, when they checked the data, they had a prediction of 185,000 jobs being of 185,000 jobs added to the market, and it doubled to 353,000 or something like that. It's ridiculous. But they're supposed to cut rates 4 times this year. I doubt it. They didn't cut rates this time. They're not going to cut rates in March. I don't think they're going to cut rates until May, to closer to election, because it's election year. And till inflation starts to go down and unemployment goes down. I mean, unemployment goes up. Because once again, the Fed bases their cuts on consumer consumption and unemployment. And unemployment hasn't changed. It's been at 3.7% for a couple months now. And so he doesn't see a reason to cut rates. If he's basing it off of that and not off he said it in his interview that he has nothing to do with mortgage rates. That's up to us to make it more affordable. He doesn't care. We can rent for life. He doesn't care about people becoming homeowners. And home prices are high, right? So let's go to the high home prices. Home prices are higher than ever. Lower inventory because of homeowners are just sitting on that 3%. They're in a chokehold with that 3%. They just 3% got them in a chokehold. They're not leaving. They're not going to move about that house with a 3% mortgage rate. It locks up the market, and they're probably not going to think about moving until it hits 5%, because it needs to be at least closer. They're not going to double up their mortgage payment because they want to move. There's your reason would have to be so strong. Death, divorce, or diapers is why people are moving. If they don't have one of those 3 going on, they're not going to move just because the kitchen is small. You know what I'm saying? So it gives us a 3% locked in rate. I mean, homeowners are locked in at 3% rate. It gives us a lock effect on our inventory. So low inventory comes with competition, overbidding on houses, having competitive pricing. Then just that house gets sold overpriced for $30,000. So this person overpriced their house for $30,000. Then that house gotta get a bid over for $30,000. Just being so competitive because people are just ready to buy a home. Hopefully, I don't see that this year is gonna be the same, because people are already depending on that rate to drop, so they're not gonna start looking into their rate drops. Yeah, and people don't understand when they're buying a house, they have to pay for closing costs, which is 3 to 5% of the house. And a lot of people, when I first bought my home, I depended on the owner to pay for my closing costs. I didn't have enough money to pay for my down payment and my closing costs. But they're not getting that now. It makes it even more expensive to buy a home. Because if you're dependent on concessions from the owner, the seller, you're not getting them because you're already overbidding on a house. They're not going to give you closing costs in with it. And it just makes home buying so much more expensive, especially if you're dependent on those concessions from the seller. And a lot of homes are not appraising. There's a lot of these homes that are getting overbid and stuff. They're just not getting appraised for what the seller is asking as well. So people have to come up with that extra money for that appraisal gap. If you offer $30,000 over on a house, but it only gets appraised for what they're asking, you have to come up with that $30,000. The lender's not going to give it to you. You have to come up with it. Makes home pricing even more expensive and home buying even more expensive, especially for the first-time home buyer that don't have any money coming from the house sale. It's just looking so dark for first-time home buyers. And like buying a home just costs twice as much. So with low wages, yeah, we're jumping to low wages. We're never getting paid enough, right? Wages just can't catch up with the homes. Homes are just, sometimes it's cheaper to rent right now than buy a home, and rent prices are coming down. So with inflation, even with inflation inflation is going down, but wages still can't catch up. We're not getting paid enough. Yeah, so now you would have to like buy a house with a partner before it was just you, and oh, now you have a boyfriend. Now you're kind of like, I want to get a house. Should I add my boyfriend to it? And you guys don't work out, and now you're stuck in a house together because wages are not there for the house pricing. So another thing is people have high debt. Like if you're higher in debt, you can't afford as much of a house that you would have if you didn't have those loans you took out to pay for your car repair, or just because inflation was so high, people had to take on loans. People are not paying their credit cards month over month. They're over, what I'm thinking of. They're letting the carryover. They're letting their credit cards carry over to the next month, and that also brings your credit score down too, which also gives you a worse rate, right? If your credit score is lower than it was before, you're gonna get a higher rate. So, like, credit cards are over $1 trillion in debt. That's the average. Like, an average person has $6,000 in credit card debt. That's average. Yeah, and people and you can't afford it because your debt to income ratio is too high because of that reason. Because your credit, your debts, you're getting loans to pay off your credit card. You're getting credit cards to pay off your loans, and it's like we're in a circle of just the pansy scheme. Is something of? Correct me if I'm wrong. Pansy, where you use that money to use that money to use that money to use that to pay off that money. But yeah, like Americans owe $241 billion in personal loans. And it went up to even, that went up from last year. Last year was only $232 billion. Now we're up to $241 billion. It's just getting kind of crazy to buy a home. So you're not alone. It's technically, if you add all the components together, it just equals unaffordable. You just can't afford it. And if you do, you might be underwater in your home in a couple years, in a year or two, if rates go down or if prices go down. So you're not alone. With all this combined together, don't feel bad. Wait to buy a house. It's hard to buy a house if you're just living paycheck to paycheck or you don't have the savings. It's too competitive right now. Just wait. Wait to the end of the year, or wait to, I'll say the best time to buy if you're on a budget and you're not like very like particular on kind of house you want. Wait to the end of the year. You get your best deals November, December, and the beginning of January, before January. So like end of October, November, and December. You'll get your best prices. You'll get concessions from the seller. You don't have to give them asking. But how prices are going up right now, how just competitive right now, I would wait. You're not alone. You don't have to rush to get a home, because it's going to be even more crazier if they do knock interest rates down to 5%. Make sure you're good. Just make sure that if you buy a home, you can afford it. That's all I can say. Don't get too much into debt, and don't put yourself into a situation that you can't get out of. And hopefully I kind of helped you with anything. Hopefully I helped you with coming to a conclusion on why it's not you, it's the economy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can hit that like button. If you want to see more, you can subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.